Namaste and welcome to today's session. And something I will be talking about today, the easy route to awareness. That's, I don't know whether that will be the topic for today, but the essence of today's talk is about that. So before we get on to the talk, let's start off with practicing some awareness. Maybe the easy way out. And then we'll talk about the easy approach to awareness. Okay, so let's sit comfortably wherever we are. Take a nice, long, deep breath in. And exhale. Another nice, long, deep breath in. Fill up your lungs. And as you exhale, let go of anything that you are holding on to. Could be body sensations. It could be thoughts. It could be feelings. Drop all resistance to anything. If there is some sensation, let it be. Do not resist. If there is this body that is alive, that is breathing, that is moving, let it be. Do not resist. There is this mind that is churning thoughts. Let it be. Do not resist. Do not resist anything that is happening in this moment. Which means do not try to change or alter or wish something else was happening in this moment. Simply be with what is. The breath is happening, be with it. There's movement of the body with the breath. Be with it. There are sensations happening in the body. Be with them. If there are any thoughts, then just be with the thoughts. If there is lack of awareness, then just be with the lack of awareness. Drop all resistance towards anything at all. And there is no resistance, there is no stress. There is no fighting with something that is happening. There is no conflict. And there's no desire to change what is happening. There is no feverishness. Complete acceptance. Complete letting go. Completely being one and surrendered to what is happening right now. Whenever the thoughts come and the attention gets lost in thoughts, after some time, the attention comes back into awareness. Totally accept this process of the attention moving from awareness into unconscious thinking. No problem. It's perfectly fine. Do not try to change this. Do not try to become aware. Just accept whatever is happening. In this dropping of resistance, in this letting go, in this surrender, the natural ease, the natural presence, the natural awareness that is always present comes forth on its own by itself. One doesn't have to create ease. One doesn't have to create presence. One doesn't have to create awareness. It's always present. It is our resistance to what's happening that covers it. Take a nice long deep breath in and exhale. Another nice long deep breath in and relax and let go. And drop effort. Surrender as you exhale. With every exhalation, let go. With every exhalation, drop all resistance. With every exhalation, surrender to what is. Remember, we are not trying to be aware. We're not trying to be conscious. We're not trying to be present. We're simply not resisting anything that is happening. Remember, the more we can bring this practice anytime during the day, to not resist what is happening, completely accepting whatever is happening. There is more ease, there's more relaxation, there's more calmness without trying to become calm, without trying to become relaxed. All we need to do is not to resist whatever happens. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Take another deep breath in and exhale. Slowly and gently at your own time, at your own pace. Rub your palms and cup your eyes. Okay, so welcome back. I hope the sitting practice helped to relax, helped to calm without trying to relax and trying to be calm. And that's what we are going to talk about in today's session, which is, in most of almost, not even most, I think the essence of what I keep sharing in every single session is to be aware, to be present, to be conscious, uh, to be in a state of being. And and I think that that's what I'm sharing is not something uh, new as such. It is what virtually every spiritual traditions uh, uh, talk about, which is to practice awareness, to practice being, whether it is through the practice of meditation, whether it's through the practice of mindfulness. And that's what all spiritual traditions, spiritual paths generally talk about in their own way. Uh, but today, what I'm going to talk about um, is trying to say the same thing in a different way. Mhm. Uh, and perhaps make the practice of awareness easier. uh, because what also happens, and this has been my experience and also the experience of people, I engage and interact with in this practice of awareness, is that when we are trying to become aware, when we are trying to become conscious, it's quite, it's like a, sometimes it's like a task. Oh, I must practice awareness. Oh, I must come back into presence. Oh, I'm lost in unconscious thoughts. I need to bring my awareness back into presence. And quite often it's not easy, because the mind is of course chattering all the time. Unconscious thoughts are there all the time. And then we have to constantly remind ourselves to come back into presence, to come back into awareness, come back into what is happening right now. And it becomes like a goal, it becomes like a task, like something I need to do. Like, uh, like I have to now practice awareness, I have to practice mindfulness, I have to practice consciousness, I have to practice presence. And it becomes quite effortful also at times, because it is something I have to do. Earlier you were, I mean, as it is, we are always doing and seeking something. Whether it is, oh, I have to do this thing, I have to do that thing, I have to do my cooking, I have to do my household chores, I have to do my exercise, I have to do my office work. And now to the to-do list, another to-do gets added. I have to now practice awareness, which becomes like, oh my God, one more thing to do. And it becomes quite like a task. Oh, I have to now remember to be aware. And then when we are unable to, which quite often happens naturally when we are, because the mind is conditioned to chatter and the attention is conditioned to go into unconscious thoughts, we tend to feel guilty. Oh, I'm not practicing awareness. So I should be practicing more awareness. What can I do to be more aware and all of that? And that's really what happens. So, in a way, we very subtly take on the role of being a practitioner of awareness. We cultivate, or the mind creates this identity, new identity, that I am a practitioner of awareness, that I am a practitioner of presence, that I am a practitioner of mindfulness. So whenever there is something that the mind has to do, it takes on a role, it takes on an identity. And the whole purpose of practicing awareness, if there is to be free of roles, free of the mind, and free of the mind made identities. But the mind very cunningly, very subtly takes on this identity that I am a practitioner of awareness. So, to to uncover this process of the mind, which is now becoming a practitioner of awareness, the simplest thing that one can do, which is what also what today's sitting practice was about, is drop the need to be aware, drop the need to practice awareness, drop the need to be conscious, drop the need to be present. And then what I'm saying, perhaps this session is for somebody who's a little more mature on the path of awareness. So maybe if you are a beginner in the path of awareness, maybe you could consider continuing practicing awareness. That's how it is. But somebody who's progressed a little on this path of being a practitioner of awareness and has taken on this role and identity of being a person who's practicing awareness, then this session is perhaps for that person, which is rather than trying to practice awareness, drop all resistance. And what do I mean by drop all resistance? Another way of saying it, accept whatever is happening. Don't try to change anything. Which means if at any given point of time there is some feeling, some sensation, don't try to resist it. Just be. Just let that be. Don't try to change anything. Just fine. Something is happening at any given point of time, some feeling, some sensation is happening. Just let it be. And that sensation can also take the form of a thought. So if the thought is happening, also let it be. And actually, the fact is that you really can't practice awareness because awareness is always there. You can't practice presence because presence is always there. It is our resistance to something that is stopping the presence, which is always there to to manifest itself, so to speak, because it's always there. It doesn't need to do. In other words, the sky is always there. The clouds cover it. Just because the clouds cover it doesn't mean that the sky is not there. So awareness is always there. Consciousness is always there. Presence is always there. Being is always there. It is our resistance to something which is covering something that is always there. So don't resist anything. ठीक है, thoughts are happening, they're happening. The mind is lost in unconscious thoughts. Fine. After some time, awareness or attention comes back into the present moment. Fine. Because if you really look at it deeply, this whole process of unconsciousness and consciousness, or the attention being lost in unconscious thinking and coming back into conscious thinking, into just pure awareness, is not something someone does. It happens by itself. Reflect on this and see it for yourself deeply. It is not like someone is choosing to be aware. Again, I'm saying, you do not choose that I will be aware. If you really had a choice, you would be aware all the time. Why would you want to be lost in unconscious thinking? You would not want that. The fact of the matter is, you don't choose awareness. The process of awareness happens by itself. And the process of unconscious thinking happens by itself. I hope you're getting what I'm trying to say. Both these processes are happening by itself. The attention going into unconscious thoughts, the attention coming back into awareness. The attention going into unconscious thoughts, the attention coming back into awareness. You are not doing this. This process is happening by itself. Do you get that? I think that's really, really important for you to understand. So the only, and then while this process is happening by itself, a new identity is getting created, which is saying, oh, I am the one who is practicing awareness. I'm the one who's doing it. There is no person doing it. Awareness happens by itself. Awareness is getting lost by itself. Awareness is coming back and not awareness going into unconscious thoughts. This process is happening by itself, but this mind is creating an identity which is saying, oh, I am the one who's practicing awareness. So when I say drop all resistance, what I'm trying to say is drop this identity that the mind is created, which is saying, I am the one who's a practitioner of awareness. I must practice awareness. I can practice awareness. And then when I'm not practicing awareness, I tend to feel guilty. I'm not practicing awareness. So drop all of this. Fine. Sometimes the mind goes into, the attention goes into unconscious thoughts. Okay. And after some time, the attention comes back into consciousness, into awareness. Okay. Again it goes, again it comes back. Again it goes, again it comes back. You are, don't, the point I'm trying to say is, don't take a position of this activity that is happening. Don't say that, oh, when it is going into unconscious thought, it is bad. Fine. It's gone into unconscious thought. It's fine. It's come back into awareness. That's fine. So you're okay with this and you're okay with that. And that is dropping resistance, because this mind, this identity creates a resistance to unconscious thinking. And that itself creates another stress and another identity of the mind. That I am resisting thoughts. I don't like thoughts. I should not be thinking. I should be aware. This drops because you're fine now. Okay, fine. The mind is there. Sometimes it comes and it takes over with its stories and all of that. And after some time, the awareness comes from. So this is something really subtle, which I'm trying to communicate in this session. And perhaps people who are a little advanced, or maybe who are already practicing awareness for some time, will understand what I'm trying to say. So you don't mind the mind. It's like, okay, the mind is doing, it's like you don't mind the body is doing its digestion, the body is having some sensations and thought. You don't mind it. It's fine. So similarly, the mind is churning thoughts. It's fine. I don't mind. Let it do what it's doing. Don't feel, oh, this mind should not be having unconscious thought. Fine. The mind is doing what it's doing. It's fine. And when the awareness comes, that's also fine. So basically, you're totally accepting of everything, the whole of existence. The whole of existence is lost in thoughts, and the whole of existence is coming into awareness. These are the only two modes of being, so to speak. So you're accepting this and you're accepting this. There is no resistance to this. There's no resistance to this. Nothing. In fact, I'm reminded of one of the things that I heard. Like, somebody asked this famous Indian philosopher, uh, Jiddu Krishnamurti, that tell us your secret. And he took a pause and he smiled and he said, you know what my secret is? And he's all his life, he's been talking about choiceless awareness, choiceless awareness, choiceless awareness. The essence of his teachings is to Be choicelessly aware. That's what he says. So he says, my secret is I do not mind whatever happens, which means I have no resistance to anything that happens. So there is no resistance. There should be no resistance to the mind as well. Fine. The mind is doing its thinking. Okay, no problem. The mind is creating a character. No problem. The mind is creating a story. No problem. Because after a certain point you have progressed on the journey of awareness, you know that the mind is creating a character, you know the mind is creating a story. You're not totally identified with the mind, which is why perhaps this session is not really for a person who's beginning his journey on awareness, but this is a session for somebody who's already identified that this mind creates a character with a story and all the past and the future, and this has no reality except in the mind. So what this mind is doing, I have no problem with it. It does. It's like a radio. It goes on sometime. I have no problem with it. After some time, it stops, and then awareness happens. So I have no problem with both these things. There's no resistance. I hope you are getting what I'm saying. It would be nice to get some feedback if you have about this. And if you really look at all our suffering, really speaking, all our suffering is because we are resisting something. Again, I will repeat that statement and you can look at it deeply. All our suffering is because we are resisting something. We don't want some kind of thought to happen. We don't want some kind of sensation to happen. We don't want some kind of a desire to happen. We don't want some kind of um, we are the resistance causes suffering. So if there is no resistance, fine, whatever is fine. Like there is this quote, I don't know, it's attributed to the Buddha, which says that uh, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. So you could be having pain in the physical pain in the body, wherever it is, and that's like physical pain because that's the body. Sometimes it's comfortable, sometimes it may not be in a state of comfort. There may be some kind of a physical pain, but the suffering is that this pain should not be there. I am resisting the pain that creates the suffering. So if there is no resistance to the pain, fine. It's there now. What, there's nothing that, I mean, it's there, it'll come, it's there for some time, it'll go away. And actually, the more you do not resist, the faster it goes away. Because the more you resist, the more friction you create, and that leads to further pain and further suffering. I hope you are getting what I'm trying to say. So don't resist. Fine. If there is some pain, there is pain. If there is some thought, there is some mm, desire or something, then fine. It's there. So let go of the need to change what's happening in the current moment, which is a sensation is there. I don't need to change. The thought is there. I don't need to change it. The feeling is there. It's fine. So don't try to change anything in your inner world, so to speak. Fine, it's whatever is there. Let the body do whatever it has to do. Let the mind do. There is no resistance to anything. Absolutely. It's almost like this whole thing is happening in emptiness. Why I use the word emptiness? Because emptiness doesn't resist anything. Anything can appear in emptiness. Fine. Any thought can appear in emptiness. Any sensation can appear in emptiness. Any desire can appear in emptiness. Any feeling can appear in emptiness. Emptiness doesn't resist anything. Resistance creates the suffering, and resistance creates the identity. So now we come to one thing which perhaps, a question should come at this point of time. Okay, so then if I should not resist anything, supposing if I have the urge to overeat, should I not resist that? Hmm. If I have the urge to get angry, should I not resist that? If I have the urge to watch, if I have addiction to pornography, should I not resist that? Okay, so here is some like, what do I say? It's like a caveat or something which perhaps will bring this whole thing into perspective. If over a period of time you have realized that certain urge and certain tendency is not wholesome, it's not a matter of good and bad, morally right, morally wrong, nothing. It's not wholesome. It's not good for me. Like if I overeat, then I don't feel good about myself. It doesn't make me feel good. When I tend to, have this sudden burst of anger, and that affects me and affects other people, I don't tend to feel good. Or when I indulge in some kind of um, behavior in relationships, or and there are certain habits and patterns within us which we have realized over a period of time. They are not coming from a space of wholesomeness. They are coming from a place of lack, a place of maybe reactivity, a place of insecurity, a place of lack of self-worth. Hence the urge is to indulge in these behaviors, whatever those behaviors may be. Sex, pornography, food, and none of this is good or bad. It is just that for each individual you have realized that this is not really um, a good expression of who I am, because it doesn't really fulfill me. It just is just coming from a space of lack and insecurity and fear. In that case, what should I do? Should I not resist the urge? Now that's a good question to ask at this point of time, but I'm asking it myself. So if the discrimination has happened, if the realization has happened that this urge, when I give in to this urge, it is not coming from a space of wholesomeness. It is coming from insecurity and lack, and it doesn't make me feel good eventually. Then observe the urge. Observation is not resistance. Observation is just observation. And do not, what do I say? It's okay. So the point I'm trying to make is, we tend to feel that I should not feel like this. I should not have this urge. I should not have this sensation. That need not be there. It's fine if that urge is there to overeat. If there is the urge or there is the sensation and feeling of anger, fine. Or if there is a feeling of sensation of, I want to indulge in some promiscuous behavior, fine. So don't resist that. It's fine. It's there. You should not, the thought need not be there. Oh, I should not be feeling like this. Oh, I should not be having these thoughts. Oh, I should not have this urge. It's fine. The body is there. It is a conditioned body. The mind is there. It's a conditioned body. It is throwing up some urges and sensations and thoughts or whatever. So don't resist it. It's fine. But one need not act out that, one can just observe the urge. One can just observe mm, the tendency of whatever the body or the mind is doing. Mm. Quite often the problem is we feel oh, I should not feel like this, I should not have this sensation, I should not have this tendency, why am I, and then you not only should you feel that I should not have, I should not feel some a certain way, then if I act it out, then I feel, oh, why? Then there is a lot of guilt and there's a lot of self flogging and self judgment. Oh, why am I doing this? And this whole trip goes on. It's fine if there is a feeling, if there is a sensation, that's fine. Don't resist it. If the awareness has happened that this sensation or giving into this sensation or acting it out is not really good for me, then just observe the sensation. And in case, supposing if there is a slip up, if fine, you end up, getting angry, if you end up overeating, if you end up doing some behavior which is not really wholesome, so fine, it happened. Now come back. That's over. Now don't get into this whole mind trip. Oh, why did I did this? I should not do this. This is this. Another create an identity. Fine. If you had the capacity, you would have been aware, you would have observed whatever was happening, but you didn't. So it went, and then fine. There's always a second chance. Mm. The resistance creates all the suffering, the resistance creates the identity. uh, And then the resistance also creates the desire to practice awareness, or the desire to become more aware, to become more mindful, to become more virtuous, to be more saintly. Drop all of this, drop all resistance. Fine, whatever is, I'm just fine with it. No problem. Absolutely no problem. And believe me, I'm telling you, this is really the easier way to be aware, if there is a way, because this is not really a way. I'm not telling you to be aware, I'm not telling you to practice awareness, I'm not telling you to um, to do anything. I'm just simply telling you to don't resist whatever is already happening. And when you don't resist whatever is already happening, then naturally you're in a acceptance of being, presence, because everything that is happening is an expression of being. The unconscious thoughts is also an expression of being. The sadness is also an expression of being. The tendency, the urges is also an expression of being. The anger is also an expression of being. Everything is an expression of being. Why are you saying this is not being? This is not life. Everything is an expression of life. So accept whole of life rather than saying, oh, this part of life I do not accept. Unconscious thinking, I don't accept. Tendencies and urges and addictive patterns, I don't accept. Reactive behavior, I don't accept. Why? Why? Accept whole of life. There's nothing not to be accepted. And which basically means don't, I'm not saying accept, because accept means something again you have to do. If I say surrender, again something you have to do. If I say let go, again something you have to do. Don't resist. You'll notice when you don't resist, there is just natural ease, because there's no resistance, there is no suffering, there is no ego, there is no identity. The resistance creates the ego identity, which takes a position, this and not this. You're getting what I'm saying? If there is no this, then there is no not this. There is just what is. It's a lovely way of putting it. If there is not this, if it is not this or this, then there is just what is. The mind is taking on some position that there should be this or this should not be there. The mind is like duality. No resistance, no position, just what is. Unconscious thoughts, fine. Sensations, feelings, fine. Awareness, presence, fine. It's all fine. So the journey is from, being totally unconscious, lost in thoughts, in identity, not even aware that we are unconscious. Then we move into consciousness. Now we start becoming aware that there is unconscious thoughts, which are churning thoughts and stories and ideas and all of that, which are not necessary. And then we become the practitioner of awareness. Then we become the a person who's now practicing mindfulness and all of that. And that creates another identity. Uh, so then now you're trying to become aware. Then you move into a state like, I don't need to try to be aware, which also is another state. That even to say, oh, I'm not going to try to be aware. This is another state. After some time, you just give up the whole thing. There's no resistance to anything. End of matter. And there's no resistance to anything. There is no ego. There's no identity. There's no position. There is no resistance. There's no suffering. Like that quote, there can be pain, there can be sadness, there can be anger, but there's no suffering. Get that? Being a human with a body and a mind, there is bound to be some anger sometimes. There is bound to be sadness sometimes. There is bound to be some conflict sometimes. There may be some anxiety sometimes, but there is no suffering around it. It's fine. It's there. It's there. So I hope I'm able to convey what I'm trying to say in this session, which is essentially don't try to practice awareness. And this again is like a caveat. This session is essentially for people who have been practicing awareness for a certain period of time and who have created an identity of being practitioners of awareness. So don't try to practice awareness. Just don't resist anything that is happening. If unconscious thoughts are happening, fine. If awareness is happening, fine. Because any which way you're not choosing to be aware, awareness happens by itself. Unconscious thinking happens by itself. You are just something is witnessing both of these things happening. Both of these processes are fine. I'm fine if there's unconscious thoughts. I'm fine if there's awareness. No problem. The second is the second thing is that do not take positions that something is good, something is bad, because only when we resist something that is creating the suffering. It's fine. If whatever is happening is perfectly fine. So if I have to give, I don't know what would, if there is a practical tip around what I'm saying, um, like, okay, if I have to share something from my own experience, that I don't now I've started practicing this, that it's fine if I don't need to practice awareness and consciousness. And it's becoming like it's like something that needs to be done and then someone who's doing it. It's fine if there are unconscious thoughts, it's unconscious thoughts are there. And when the awareness comes, then the awareness comes. And that's fine. There is no doing involved, there is no taking a position about it. And last but not the least is that if there are certain tendencies which tend to make us, which are not wholesome, which we have identified through our experience, um, through our process of own awareness, addictive patterns of behavior, or maybe reactive behavior, that, then we don't need to judge it. It's fine. If it's there, it's there. If anger is there, anger is there. Sadness is there, sadness is there. If there is a feeling to overeat, it's there. But one need not always give into it. It's fine. You're not fighting it, you're not judging it, you're simply saying it's fine, it's there. There is a greater possibility for you actually to be with it or to observe it if you're not fighting it, if you're not resisting it, If you're resisting it, you're actually creating more energy. It's going to pull you more into it. If you're okay and accepting of it, there is a likelihood that there is a greater possibility that you can be aware of it. It's fine. I'm feeling angry. It's fine. And it's also fine that I can be with this anger. I am aware that there is anger. That's it. It's fine. I'm feeling sad. I'm aware that there is sadness. It's fine. I'm feeling this urge to overeat. That's fine. The urge is fine. And I am with the urge to overeat. You're, you're getting that, right? There's no resistance that I should not be feeling like this. I should not be wanting this. So that's that. So if you have anything you want to ask or share, you can always write to me and ask and share, and we can talk about more on this. But I think this is it's a very subtle point that I've made, and especially for people who have already progressed a little on the path of awareness, this would be really useful, because we tend to create identity of being a practitioner of awareness, and the whole goal of awareness is to free yourself from all identities, to come into freedom. Freedom means no position, no role, no resistance. What is? Okay, so with that, let's end this session. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Join your palms. Namaste. Close your eyes. We end with a small prayer. My dear higher self, help me to drop resistance to anything that is happening in the moment. Help me to not create an identity of being a person who's practicing awareness. Help me to just be unconditionally accepting of what is, which means not resisting anything that is happening. Let me not judge, take positions about anything, neither seek anything, neither try to change anything, neither resist anything. I seek your grace and guidance on this journey to realize my true self. Om Shanti Shanti. Okay, so with that, we end today's session. I'll see you in the next session. Goodbye. God bless. Take care.